I hope you're having a good day. This is week 31. We're actually seeing some warm weather here in the Northwest. It happens occasionally. As you know, last week the group of people celebrated my birthday. That was an incredibly special time. I'm certainly appreciative, somewhat embarrassing, but we can live with that. I want to go through some of the very unique cards that I got. Probably the one that speaks to me most is the one that I got from my granddaughter. This is from Evie. She's, I think, 10 years old now. She's growing up. And she says, "Happy birthday, Papa." Being old just means, it says, she made this up herself, you get a senior discount to watch my life. Now, which, by the way, is quite a privilege. And some extra change. And with this card, because you're just getting, well, old. She gave me a bag of her change. I understand she cleaned out her piggy bank for me. It was a blessing. Funny, too, and enjoyable. This one here is kind of cool, too. I like this. You may not see the picture on here, but it says birthdays are like boogers. It says the more you have, the harder it is to breathe. Got to give it to you. That's true. Can't deny that. That is true. This one here is you're not getting old. You'll notice that there's a cupcake with a bunch of candles on it. You just need a bigger cupcake, it says. Absolutely true. Can't beat that. That's the way it goes. Now, this one's from Jeff and Sarah. You'll notice that it's a little plain here. It says, "I read every single card in the store before picking this one just for you." Really, sat on the floor and everything. You better like it. Just this plain card. Well, Jeff and Sarah, thank you. It was a blessing. And last for today, just to kind of says, birthdays are a great opportunity to pause, look around, be grateful for all the good things in your life. Or at least that's what you can tell people when you're doing what you're doing. Let me say it again. At least that's what you can tell people you're doing if you walk into the room and forget why you're there. Senior moments. We all have senior moments. Listen, I want to just take a moment, thank everybody for the kindness. I'm going to go through more of these cards. I love the funny cards in the next devotionals. But I want to just take a moment also and think about the fact that we'll be discussing this week on Wednesday night. We're talking about the church as conscience, like we're here. And in 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 6 and on, we're here as a restraining factor on this earth. God placed us here to restrain evil. It's kind of like, salt. It just inhibits the growth of certain bacteria. We're like light that exposes, it cleanses. It doesn't mean it absolutely diminishes what's going on. We're not here to turn this culture into a Christian culture. We'll never be able to do that. And people that have tried to do that in the past have only brought more harm than good, as we've seen throughout church history, and more reaction than good, as we've seen through, for example, the moral majority in the 90s. But one thing that we can say is that when we live our life properly before Christ, we do affect the culture around us. It does have an impact. It does. When we live and we speak with an attitude that comes from the heart of Christ towards others, it touches people. The world doesn't speak like that. When we think as Christ thinks about the world that we live in, the world doesn't think like that. When we approach the situations of our life with the patience and temperance and all the elements that so much personify the person of Christ, the world doesn't act like that. So we have an incredible advantage as believers. But one thing I want you to just think about, we'll be speaking on it tonight, the issue of covering. Now, Oftentimes, people speak of covering strictly from the viewpoint of covering up what someone else has done or covering up what you've done. And the Word of God is pretty clear that I think it's in Proverbs 28:13. If we cover a transgression and don't confess it, it doesn't bode well for us. As individuals, we're to confess the things that we've done before God. That's what 1 John 1:9 is all about. By the way, David said in Psalm 32, I believe it's verse 5, that when I kept my mouth shut, I kept all this sin inside. It ate me alive. It burned me up. I think that's true. So this isn't talking about that. This is talking about an attitude that we have as believers to protect others from shame. That's quite different from the world. The world loves to shame people. Most of the things that you read on Twitter or whatever, Instagram or Facebook at times, is just shameful. In other words, the goal is to shame people. Most of what we see in politics today is about shaming people. The world thrives on shaming others, basically accusing others of what you have either thought or done yourself. And we know how that turns out, but for us as believers, the beauty of what we've received from Christ is that we have this tremendous understanding of His mercy. And therefore, our goal in life, and the way that we relate to other people, is to protect them from shame. Now, we can't always do that, but far be it from me to be the one who points the finger and, if you will, promotes the shaming of another. Far be it from me to be one that piles on to another person's embarrassment. I hope that's not you. It certainly isn't Christ. Till next time, friends, God bless.